The Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast is back, and once again, it is brought to you by All Pro Cleaning and Restoration, a Balfour company, commercial, residential property restoration and construction company. Services include fire and water damage restoration, mold remediation, HVAC, duct cleaning, and complete construction services. Been a valued service provider for Westchester County and the Tri-State area for over 35 years and a proud supporter of Stepinac basketball, as is White Plains Hospital, a sponsor of GameDay One, and has been so good to high school athletics, Stepinac basketball, and GameDay One since we started. And now, the Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast with Coach Patrick Massaroni. The Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast, Season 2, Episode 7. We're past the midway point of the basketball season. We are so excited to be back here in studio, LMC Media, in Mamaroneck, just down the street from Stepinac High School. And we're joined today. We have obviously Coach Pat Massaroni. We have another special guest, an author of 2 books, the founder of not just one of the premier basketball programs, grassroots programs in New York City, but maybe all of the entire country. And really probably one of the most influential people in high school, college, professional basketball, joining us here today, and that is my good friend, Terrance Munch Williams. And Terrance, first off, did anyone call you Terrance?
If you're not a friend.
Okay, that's it. So Munch, I will call you Munch from now on. I guess we're friends now. I'll call you Munch. But I appreciate you coming in. Obviously, it's your busy time. There's no not busy time, I imagine, right?
All 12 months.
All 12 months,
all
yeah.
7 days.
And and thanks for coming into the studio, and obviously Coach Pat Mass. Let's talk quickly, Coach, about your games the last couple of days. You had 3 games in 4 days?
3 games in 4 days. Went out to Brooklyn on Saturday night. My first time ever to Nazareth. When I was a student, Nazareth wasn't in the level we were at now, and we weren't there either. And then so we went out down 3 starters going into the game, 6 guys with 2 fouls at halftime or within the first half. And credit to our bench and some guys there, I would say, like in the maybe 9 to 13, 9 to 14 role that came in and got us a lead at halftime and played tremendous. Some guys that I haven't seen minutes in over a month. And then the best part about it was them and the starting unit, which was a little off with Dylan, Adonis, and Haas being out, come out and extend that lead to 19 by the end of the third quarter and then to maintain it. And then I thought Josiah and Darius just stepped up in the fourth quarter to put us over the hump and did some things there. But you had Jordan Archibald at 14, his first career start. Amir Smith played tremendous, senior who hasn't played much over the last 2 years. And then Larry Jenkins as well. And Jack Coco, had his career high. He was tremendous. So guys just played. They played as a unit, played as a team. And it was great to get out of there and made the bus ride, long one back, enjoyable after that. They were previously 6-0 in the league and playing pretty well. And some guy out there said to me leaving, he was like, "This is the biggest crowd since we played Zavarian 20 years ago." So it was packed.
They're Hollywood, right?
So,
yeah, they're Hollywood.
packed.
So you come back Sunday?
Come back Sunday, quick turnaround, 1 o'clock, Bishop Loughlin. We get Adonis back, on a minute restriction there from the doctors. But it's good to get him back. Hasn't played since that Scanlon injury. Came out up 8 at halftime. Didn't think we played terrible. Again, some guys in foul trouble, some guys in some new roles. And then next thing I looked up, it was 28 late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, and was able to get everybody in. Again, packed. Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't know
Sunday,
if that's
playoff Sunday. Yeah,
playoff Sunday. A mix of the New York teams not being the best.
Yeah.
And, I think the brand and opportunity just not playing a lot of games at home. A great environment on Sunday. It was packed, crowded, and got that win. And actually all 3 levels, were victorious on Sunday, which was always nice. Long day, but a good day. And then short prep on Monday for, I think, a really talented Holy Cross team. Their record doesn't indicate what they have. They only play 1 senior that really plays. They have another big that actually started but usually comes off the bench for them yesterday and came out and thought Josiah was tremendous. He had 20, I think, at halftime or 18, and then other guys stepped up and made some big plays. Thought Darius, there was a high-low situation when Holy Cross was on a bit of a run that calmed it down, and then Jack Coco took a huge charge late in the fourth quarter in transition. So to come out of that, 3 wins, shorthanded once again, and I think we're going to be there. We have a lot of big doctor's appointments Thursday. So between that, Josh was, battling a fever.
Yeah.
Got sent home from school. I guess everybody, not just Josh, but just the society, everybody's sick these days.
You got to keep them away. It's rough.
So everybody's sick.
Munch,
you had it? You had it?
I had it bad, I had it bad. Over the break, I'm better now, don't worry.
Yeah.
Munch, you think people were upset? People's heart were breaking hearing that Stepinac was down 3 starters?
Kid, not one bit.
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
I will say, though, you were at the game last night, right?
Yes, sir.
Listen, Josiah is special when the whole team's there. But you really get to see, like you said, man, if he was ever on any other team where he had to be the guy every possession, what would he do? And we saw it. I mean, how great was he?
No, he's phenomenal. I think he had about 22 at halftime.
Finished with 32.
Yeah, you guys probably had
60.
30. he was efficient too.
Yeah, he was
efficient.
In some ways, it kind of benefited him. Obviously, with the timing, because listen, he's trying to put together a resume to go to McDonald's, right? I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, that game last night, he could put that game on film, and people are going to watch that and say, "Wow, he's special."
Yeah, and I think for him and Adonis's body of work between the summer, into the fall, into the start of the season, before he got banged up a bit, put him in contention. Darius has put himself in contention, and to have 3 guys, right there pushing to the finish line. Is something that is just something that we're proud of as a program. Obviously, 2 of the 3 play with Munch's program as well, and we'll see. I think it comes out later this month, early February, but they've all put in a body of work that shows, and hopefully they don't get maybe hindered by the fact they're all on the same team.
Yeah.
On that regard, but it helps them a little bit in the McDonald's kind of side of things that there are some other. Top 10, top 20 guys that have been hurt. So it does allow for some votes that maybe would have gone their way to hopefully come their way. And Josiah last night and with these guys out, and Darius as well. I mean, he had 17 rebounds last night. He had a double-double on Saturday and Sunday, put themselves in a position and then Adonis being back in what he is. Hopefully the 3 of them get great news, but either way, we know the work that they put in.
Yeah, you're gonna need them on Saturday in
IMG, IMG. 15th in the country.
Yeah,
different size than some of the teams in our league.
Of course,
physicality. Sean does a tremendous job with them on that stage. NBA TV. I was thinking about this last night, Kev. I usually can't sleep when we lose, but my new thing now is that my brain's racing. We win in a good way, and I'm we got to play on ESPNU scheduled, right? That was on there. And Montverde was scheduled on NBA TV. And then, you get to City of Palms, you're on ESPN2, and now NBA TV got picked up this game Saturday. I think some programs and schools look to try to be on those platforms one time over a 3, 4, 5, 10-year. I remember the first time I got the call to be on, we played Christ the King on ESPN2.
I remember, yeah.
RJ was a senior, AJ was a junior. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, they were like, well, you got to move your game to Thursday at 4:30. I was like, we don't care. Whatever. We don't care. It could be at 9 at night. Yeah. And now to have 4 in 1 year is just, it's great for these kids, the platform, the opportunity. And if you've been up to Hoophall, I mean, the crowds are tremendous. And now it's NBA sanctioned, and every college coach is there, and USA Basketball, and all the voters from McDonald's and Jordan Brand. And it's a hub for the basketball community. So, hopefully we get, I think, again, I always say this, the inside, so some inside stuff there. I think Dylan and Hassan could get back to something above 50%, give us something Saturday, and then we'll see what Adonis, he's progressing. And then we got to get Josh back health-wise and make sure nobody else, I don't know, where's some wood in here.
Not wood. Yeah, no, totally. My first experience going to Springfield was interesting. First of all, I got lost.
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Don't get lost. I found my way, and I parked, and it was an absolute blizzard. Blizzard. Yeah. And I'm walking through the campus there, and I'm like, oh, my God. There's nobody. It was just snow everywhere. I'm walking. I opened the door to go inside. The place was packed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do all these people get inside? It was amazing. No, so that is an event that no matter what, they're going to draw a huge crowd. Yeah. And it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's how it really gets seen, right? And that's the place. So
yeah. There's some events that you want to be in as a program. Yeah, Greg Brasino, Westchester guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. Chris Lawler, who's been around the high school basketball game for a long time. He was USA Today. Now he's with Blue Star Media. Wrote a piece just on the event in general. and he talked about, like, if you're a basketball fan, this is a magical 5 days because it's Thursday to Monday. So I was like, well, he stole Disney's line a little bit, like a magical place, but it's a magical 5 days. If you're a high school hoops junkie, and we know there's many of those, starts tomorrow with a lot of local games. And Friday, they shifted to all girls games Friday. And then unbelievable slate Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I don't even know how many years we've been part of it now, but we've had some great battles up there, some on the good end, some on the bad. But we'd love to be healthy. So Thursday at about like 4 o'clock when everybody sees the doctors and we go to watch film, hopefully we have more guys in practice gear to play that game. But also, and then the last 2 weeks has shown that there's some young talent there. There's a whole notion that, like, it's over for Stepinac after this year. Like, that's the whole, people are talking. Billy Turnage and I were talking last night, and I'm not going to go into, like, how small this basketball world is and, like, how people talk, and specifically in New York, right? And instead of people rallying around and being supportive of each other, there's the negativity that comes with it. And I think some people, specifically Saturday, when it was Josiah and Amir at one time with 3 young guys on the court, Larry, Elijah, and Jordan. And then at one point, Ethan in for Jordan. They were like, wait, that's sophomore, freshman. Okay. And I think that calmed the narrative down. We might not have the superstars like we have with this team, but
not yet.
There's some talent in this program.
Not yet. And obviously,
our freshman is 7-1. JV's won 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Our varsity B's 8-2. I mean, people need to stop.
It's a perfect segue. I like that. People need to stop. Perfect segue. Pat always like throwing that little thing there. Munch. This is what the show makes it so good. Perfect segue to Munch, right? So Munch, you see it. Stepinac got some talent coming through, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you like?
I just think it's what Pat said. Like, if you watch the game last night and you see all these guys in the sweatsuit and you looking on the court and you like, this is their bench. This is their future. These are like role players you guys are losing to, right? Like, the moral victory thing kind of got to go out the window, right? Like, I'm looking at them. They're beating people by 15, 20, 25. And these are guys who are, like, they're waiting their turn, right? But those young kids are stepping up, man. Like, I've even been able to take a better look at some of those guys and be like, wow, this kid's gotten a lot better. I'll text back, like, man, you should leave Coco in there more. Like, there's been times when these guys are stepping up doing such great jobs that at worst, they're going to be even with everyone else when the studs leave, right? And because of their culture and because of their system, because it's winning. Like, I watched the game last night and they broke the press, and it was probably like a minute and some change left. And seeing, I think, Amir and Coco, like, bring the ball back out, understand time and possession, understand the shot clock, and they weren't rattled, right? They were just calm and poised. And you can tell, like, this team is built to win games and win championships, right? So just even the move Josiah made, I was like, oh, that's a tough one. He got the end one. Yeah. But just the poise of knowing what's the scoreboard and how to close out games when you're not normally in those moments, right, over the last few years. But the maturity of those guys, maturity of the staff, and these guys show a great job trusting the kids, right, to grow in their roles. So I think all them young kids, man, they've done a great job, and I'm happy to see them continue the success. And I'm excited to see what the future looks like.
I agree. I think the real basketball players out there, and they want to be in close games. They don't want to go in when it's a 20-point game and be like, oh, I got to hold the ball here and whatever. Like that's your opportunity to go out there. So I think they kind of crave a game like last night. It was a 2-possession game. Ball was in 3-point shot was in the air for Holy Cross. Yeah. They had a chance to make it a 3-point game, and you called timeout right after that, and things got settled. So, Munch, I've admired you from afar as a Westchester guy. Obviously, what you've done in New York City with New York City basketball and how you've elevated. So, just tell us about your start. So 2008, you start ProScholars Athletes, the program, and it was basically you coaching and a couple of kids and maybe a couple assistants. And tell me about going back to that time in what AAU basketball was like, what New York City basketball was like, and how different things were back then when you first started.
Yeah, man, we started out in a little after-school program at Scan. So it was called Team Scan at the time, ran an after-school program. Guys came in there, they did their homework. They got some assistance, they got some food. They did like a 3 to 6 segment. And then the 6 to 8, we got on the court and started working with some 6th graders. Francisco Zeno, Austin Robinson, bunch of guys most people don't know. But this everything you guys are seeing started with those guys coming in and their work ethic And, you know, my guys, we always say, like, hey, we were flying the plane as we was building it, right? Like, trying to figure some stuff out. I'm sure we made a bunch of mistakes going up, but one of the things we always got right was we put academics first. We just started looking and cold calling better academic schools and trying to figure out, you know, where placement could be at, right? Like, I remember Naeem going to Stepinac at one time, Naeem Thomas, Shavar Newkirk was at Hayes. So we kind of grew those young kids from 6th grade. So even though the work, which you guys seeing now, it took us at least 4 to 5 years just to people to notice it because it was middle school kids, right? 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. And then we kind of got a Nike deal, switched it over to ProScholars Athletics, PSA Cardinals in the last like maybe 5 years, 6 years, something like that, 2015 class. But we've just been churning away. I mean, I think the one thing that makes us different is we try to keep, you know, it a mom and pop feel and know all the kids. Like even last night we got the kid Peyton Wilson over at Holy Cross. And just make sure that everybody feels like they're getting touched, right? It's not, you know, in a way that they feel like their needs are being met, and even the alumni now. So the everyday grind is serious, like keeping track of everybody on a daily basis is a lot. We got the best guys around. I always say, like, hey, we've learned to departmentalize things and say, hey, this is what you do. So it's kind of ran like a college. Yeah. You know, you got like somebody that's in charge of fundraising, NIL, or the director of ops, and all of the same things you see in college today is what we're kind of trying to keep up with the space and do the same things and prepare those guys for their next stages.
You grew up in the city? Where'd you grow up?
I'm a Bronx kid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Taft High School, and then I went to Holderness School in New Hampshire. From there, I went to Wesleyan University for undergrad, and then got my master's at Pace, one of them, and then the second one was University of Phoenix. Okay. So 2 master's degrees, undergrad, a lot of educational stuff. Glad I'm done. Yeah.
Almost go back to school. Yeah. No, that's enough. Great. Yeah. So you obviously have a different path, right? So you start in 2008. Did you say this is what's missing? This is what's lacking? Because like my perception. So I started being a reporter in 1998. I was 18, and Mount Vernon basketball was great, and it was like Ben Gordon, like, didn't play AAU basketball, right? And it was like, oh, wow, like maybe this is like, you know, AAU is not the answer for everything. Turns out it was. And so, but like, then you started seeing guys come up, and I started hearing about more AAU programs come along. So I started to go. I went to ABCD camp, which is not AAU, but it's obviously just like a camp, and I got to see basketball on a different level. And the optics of it then weren't great, right? So like I remember walking in and seeing like the coach with like the Bluetooth in the ear and a backpack, and I was like, I've never seen anyone coach like that. And I was like, he's wearing shorts, like, obviously summer's different. What did you see and where did you say like, okay, here's where like this is the avenue we need to build here?
I mean, when I came out of college and started working at Scan at the time, I wasn't really paying attention to where everyone else was doing. We kind of locked ourselves in that gym, full time, 7 days a week. And we just was like, look, if we could utilize the sport to get to different academic realms, like we was putting guys in prep schools at 7th grade, 8th grade, visiting schools, just making sure that, hey, we could use your talent. They were young kids. They were 5'9", 5'11". They weren't superstars. I think what helped us was we got a bunch of kids that weren't like AAU guys at that time. They weren't jaded. They were just like, hey, what's the work every day? Then we're going to do that because then he's going to let us play in. We started out in Central Park in 96th Street Y and local stuff, and then kind of like expanded out. I would say one thing that's different is we didn't go searching for a sneaker company. We just kept playing and kept expanding out as we were successful. So we started really local. Then we went to like Jersey. Then we went out to Connecticut, and we just kept going further. And then as we got further and the team became more family orientated, and we added grades because we started out at 6, and then when we went up to 7th, we added another 6. Okay. So most people started in high school. We started in middle school. So our foundation and our roots is so strong because we were kind of like learning everything as we went and then adding underneath young kids. So the younger kids can see one group up and see what you could do, what you shouldn't do. So I don't think we understood the space as well as now. But we did understand love, and we did understand academics, and we understood day-to-day grind. Yeah. So I remember, I think it was maybe Tim Felt was a coach. What year did you graduate high school, Pat? 2006. 2006. So it was right around, a little later than that. And I was talking to Tim Felt. I clearly remember this. And I was talking about players at schools. I think Christ the King and Hayes were like basically the premier programs at that point, and St. Ray's. And I remember saying like, well, how did they get all these guys, you know? And I heard your name. And I said, well, what, you know, how does he get this influence? And he goes, they trust him. Yeah. Right? And that I never forget that. I remember thinking like, wow, he's built trust. Yeah. I mean, Pat, what is he, you know, when you first come along as a coach, and
obviously you're out trying to build relationships, right? You're trying to build your program, right?
Yeah.
And you need to build relationships through trust, right? And so, how much did you see his influence, Munch's influence, and did you say, okay, I need to kind of I need him to earn my trust, right? Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I think so. Year one, 2015, you're trying to connect with as many people in the tri-state, right? In the more so New York and New York City. And how do you tap into the best grassroots programs, the best middle school programs? So, still kind of where they are today, but at the time, right, you had PSA, you had the Wrens, you had New Heights were really on this side of the bridge, and Jayhawks, Riverside, Gauchos, and you're just trying to get out there and like make sure people know who you are, and what are you trying to build. So, I think Timmy did a great job with, at the time it was Team Scan. He mentioned Naeem. Naeem was somebody that came out of Team Scan, and then still remember Newkirk when he was at Hayes. And, it's each school has allowed themselves to, have relationships with the New York area. And I think there's a lot in New York, and I know you're going to hit on that with Munch, just the amount of programs from here up to Albany and everywhere in between, right? There's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I think back then it was just trying to figure out who needed to earn our trust, as you mentioned that with Munch, what programs to be in communication with and try to build relationships with and get in their gyms just like they could come to our gym and trust that. And I think for me and for Swain, and now you add in Al and Alexis, but for year one for us, we were like, hey, we want to be a part of their success kind of like September to like March, right? And then who could we work with? Munch being one, the Wrens being another, and down the list, Whiz Kids, Riverside, Jayhawks, whoever it is. Because everybody just thinks everybody plays with PSA, which is false, because that's not the truth, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm liked, or our program's liked by all of New York. I mean, some probably don't like us, but I think publicly or to our face. But it was then, how do you work with these programs from April to August, like to let them do what they do, and then at the other times all work together. Yeah. And that's our thing to parents today. Like, whoever you train with, we're not telling you to change. Whoever you play with, we're not telling you to change. We can give you guidance, we can give you the blueprint, but like, let's work together, right? If it's a Stepinac PSA kid, if it's a Stepinac Riverside kid, Stepinac Wrens kid, Stepinac Wrens United, Stepinac whatever, right? Whiz Kids, go down the list. How do you work together on what it is to get these kids? Because I know we're going to hit on this with Munch, but like, there's a such bigger side than just playing basketball that goes into it. And that was something that, and I still remember, I don't know if he remembers or not, but there was the spring, remember that the Frankie Williams played at the Theodore Young Center?
Yeah, remember
right?
that,
The game was there.
Yeah.
And there was a whole like rumor going around, and maybe I just made it up, that like Mo Bamba was transferring out of Westtown, right? There was this whole thing that was going on. So I remember calling Munch, and Munch kind of like, he kind of laughed. I think you were driving down to Peach Jam at the time. And Mo ended up staying in Westtown and had an unbelievable career. But we were just trying to throw like darts at the wall and just see what what would stick. What would stick, because like after year one, we went ahead and got. It's not our philosophy, and still isn't today. Even as a school, we went and got like 4 or 5 transfers, because my thing was, if we don't win now, coming off of the previous coaching staff that had the worst 2 years win-loss record-wise, they had average loss by 19.9 points per game over that time. If we couldn't get Stepinac back to what we wanted to do. Yeah. And so we took a bunch, right? We took Xavier Wilson, Alan Griffin, Eddie Sanchez, Joel Soriano, all came in as transfers. And again, that wasn't, and it isn't. We really haven't taken that many transfers over the last 5-6 years. It's been all the 8th grade route and develop them. But we had to take them and had to win. And it mixed in that with young guys.
Transfer portal is like, you're defined by your success in the transfer portal. Yeah. And at that time in high school, it was like, transfers was like a terrible word. Like, what are you doing? How are you getting these? So it is funny how much it's changed in such a short amount of time. And you obviously much have seen it more than anybody. So, there is obviously every couple of years there's going to be a coach at a school who's going to say, well, I got to be friends with Munch, right? This is how it's going to work. Because I remember thinking that like early on it was just like, oh, Munch told the kids where to go. I'm going to send you here. I'm going to send you there. It's not how it works at all, because it is about, you understand the athletes, you understand their needs, you understand the type of coach they respond to. So how much of there is there in terms of guiding instead of just telling?
I mean, it's a little bit of both, man. I think where people get the misconception is they think the conversation should just be about the 2 hours a day you playing basketball.
Yep.
like my conversation with Pat is, hey, what's he doing academically, right? Is he off? Is he on? What, like, our communication is 12 months, and it's what is he eating? Is he on class? Is he on time to school? Like, does he need help getting to school? Like, I'm a more holistic person.
Yeah.
So
if
somebody's like, hey, I want a kid, just come watch my practice. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be there at 1 o'clock. Let me sit in your social studies class.
Yeah.
And it's 40 dudes in there, and they're not doing no work. That's not attractive to me. I can't co-sign that, right? So I'm looking for places that, hey, my graduation rate is high. My placement count to college is high. I need a connection. I don't want to do 12 months of work. I need someone that's like, hey, I can hold on to this heavy lifting for a little while you go build the farm system for the future. So being able to have a kinesthetic relationship that's holistic and it touches all the needs. Like, are they going to be guys where I'm like, this is where you're going? Yeah, because some of these kids don't have parents that understand the difference between this school versus that school. And it's going to be parents where I'm like, hey, if you ask me my opinion, here's the data, here's the pros and cons to these 3 schools, figure it out, right? Some schools are not financially stable enough to have scholarships. Some schools are not, marketing wise or, just getting out to certain events. And I need a connector, and that's where certain schools they get to the top of the list because ultimately they're helping the kid, they're helping the family, they're helping us, and then we're helping them. Yeah. So if you can understand that approach, and the biggest thing is like Pat doesn't have a problem saying no to me. I have a problem saying no to him. But we can talk it through as adults that are mature, and we both want to see each other win. Right? Yeah. Like, it's not just, hey, I don't care about what's going on that step, but I also care that the kid is doing the right thing in the class. So if something's going wrong, I'm first one there.
No, it's great. And you keep saying the word holistic, which is something that when I was doing my research and learning more about you, and obviously read your book, something that came up a lot. That word is not used in basketball very often. And you've kind of lived the academic thing too with the going to Wesleyan. Not everyone. It's a hard school to get into. Yeah. So two master's degrees. So the academic, like this is not BS. Like when parents say to you, "Oh, we care about academics," sometimes they just want to go to a basketball program that's going to win and they're going to get score 30 points a game. So like that's not a hard sell for you, right? No, you've done this, you've lived that. Your book. Let's talk about your book.
Which
one? Your first book, our PSA, right? Yeah. All right, so I'll tell you a little story about your book. So I show
got
up.
a bookmark in there right now.
I do. I have a book and a lot of folded pages. Because this is what I love about this book is that it's what we'll say is it's easily digestible in a way where you can literally just have it on the table, pick it up, and just turn. Or so you do it. If anyone's not read the book, there's entries, right? So entries are like 2 or 3 pages long each, and there's also then the front there's like almost like a little guide about like little topics, and you can say, oh, well, that's an interesting topic. This is a topic that I would like to know a little bit more about, and you can just flip to that, and it's great. I love that. But I remember buying it, right? So remember selling me the book?
Probably
you didn't sell me you didn't sell me the book. You sold me 2 books. So you were and as you said in an interview, I've heard you say this.
Gotta give one to someone
I was
else.
like Master P. You're like, I was a Master P son out of my trunk.
There you go.
It was Master P. Master P's from No Limit Soldiers. I
have
no idea.
I'm not that young. Come on now.
So and it's funny because when I went to go, I remember the table set up, and I was like, I'm gonna support Munch. I'm a big I love the word support, like support Munch. And I walked up and I said, I'm gonna buy a book, and you said, here's 2. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And you were like, that's $20. And I was like, oh, I'm paying for 2. I was like, you did a good job selling right there. That was real good. I got totally bought 2 books, and I gifted one to a friend. And all right. So here's the second part of the story. We're at Lehigh. It was the day. So what year did the book come out?
Maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, so it was the day they played St. Patrick's. I don't remember this. And the kid collapsed on the court. Remember, they had to stop the game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was crazy.
Early in the game.
First quarter, he's on the court, player on the team. They had Wilcher.
Wilcher.
But it was one of his teammates. He just collapsed, and thank God he was okay. So
Roosevelt Catholic.
It was Roosevelt Catholic. Roosevelt Catholic. So Roosevelt Catholic, right? So Roosevelt Catholic comes up, and the game stops. I was broadcasting.
Was that Mabako?
Yeah.
Mackenzie Mabako.
That's who it was, yes, exactly. So you got good memories. So I remember they had to clear out the gym. But I remember buying the book. I was early. It was early in the day. And I go to the table. I'm like, oh, cool, basketball book. And I open up the first page, and I'm sitting courtside, and I read it. And the first thing's about domestic violence is prevalent in the African-American community. And I'm reading through this, and I was like, wow, he's talking about his mom. Like, this is some real shit. Like you just wrote it. Like you opened up, man. And I was totally like, wow, I know him from basketball, but like I'm gonna get to know him for real.
Person.
How hard was it to sit down? First off, just writing a book. Sitting there and writing a book is not an easy thing to do. But to be so open about it, how were you able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you. Some people go to therapy.
Yeah.
Right. Some people pray. Some people go to church. It's just another form of, getting your emotions out. I think COVID was at that time, and anybody that knows me, I'm a scheduled guy. I write in my journal daily, just to get my thoughts out and just kind of like, just make sure I'm refreshing my mind. And that stuff was a lot of storylines of, my upbringing, guys that look like me, friends, just storylines. And I think there's something in just being able to make the right decisions and ultimately understand, like, hey, how you start is not how you're going to finish.
Yeah.
You never know what God has planned for you in the future. I think it's something where it's like, hey, I write anyway. So once you get to writing and then you get to typing, and then it's like, well, what are you going to do? It was a bucket list thing for me. And, happily that it came out. And then once it came out, I was like, all right, well, what are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have any plan.
Yeah, that wasn't a publisher. It wasn't through a publisher, so you had to sell it yourself.
It was like, it's just a love thing.
That's a hustle.
Did you handwrite it or did you type it?
I handwrite first, both, and then I type. And then you get to the editing phase, and then you decide, all right, what do you want to do? Amazon or different publishing. So I learned a lot from that book to the second. But also you learn a lot about people, right? You learn the difference between having a table at Fordham and having a table at Columbia, right? The conversations that come your way are completely different. Like, what triggers someone to buy a book? Like, I went to Barnes & Nobles and walked around and did some research and spoke to the staff and was like, hey, you guys have these books in here. How many of these books actually sell? But then you got to understand the consumer and do people wake up no one wakes up in the morning like, hey, I'm buying a book today. Yeah. That's not it, right? No. So you got to find ways of marketing and make people believe. And to your point, most people are like, oh, that's PSA. It's not even about PSA.
No, it was not.
Right?
I mean, it was quickly not about PSA. I thought a successful person in basketball wrote a book about themselves. That's what people tend to do, right? Yeah. And I'm reading this and I was like, well, it's about him, but it's really not about basketball. I mean, it's the journey through life, through basketball and stuff. But I was reading, I was like, man, you didn't hold back, which is you said, so it was therapeutic. And then the other part too, just what you saying about selling the book. Writing a book's hard, selling a book's harder, right? Yeah. That's why I would never write a book. Yeah. But you even had you go on trips with the kids, with the players, and you would be like, hey, listen, we're gonna, let's try and sell the book here at the airport, things like that.
You teaching them, entrepreneurship. You're teaching them ownership. I think for me, I'm trying to show these guys that whatever you want to do, then do it. But you have to do it at a full speed. You can't halfway do it. So those guys will we'll get to the airport and be a box, and I'm like, here go 2 for you, 2 for you. Go meet someone. Give it away. Right? Not sell it, give it away, but try to get someone's business card. Meet someone, networking, right? But utilizing it. When we get to the hotel, we'll place it in the front of the hotel. So I'm showing them this is what product placement looks like. Like they'll see me engaged in making sure that we do our best on the road, but they also see you can do this other stuff. So now these guys are, dealing with their camera and photography. They're dealing with, music and different. So I want them to see a whole person. Yeah. Don't limit yourself to just, hey, we got to play 4 games this weekend. So I think it's dope for them to see like, hey, Coach Munch did something. And they give me some topics for the second book. Yeah. Right? Like these guys that give you the input. The other thing is once you start something and you tell them, hey, I'm doing this, they're checking on you.
Yeah,
so like Hassan French and those guys are calling to say, hey, where are you with the book? Is it done yet? And then they're going to be the first ones to support. They're going to use their social media platforms. So it's like a vertical integration within the program, right? Yeah. I want to see you win. You want to see me win. And then you take the funding and you do something back towards that, right? Like people think, oh, it's Amazon, bro. Like it's that money is really not going directly to me. And when it does get to me in royalties, it's used for everything else you might see.
Of course.
It's a dope experiment, and I think it's something good for the world.
Yeah. Well, when I think about the trust and I think about the first conversation I had about you was building trust. Like this book is like this shows like I'm a real person. Like and it says. Like, I think your players, whether they read one page or the whole thing, they say, okay, well, I know him. I like he's open. He's open about stuff. Yeah. And so that was my other part. So I'm reading through the book, and I'm a couple chapters in, and I'm a couple entries in, and I'm reading this, and I'm like, he doesn't pretend to have the answers. Like you pose questions. No. And so like a lot of people write a book and like have confidence in themselves and feel like they feel like they're gonna have the answer. So I got to like 4 or 5 entries. I'm like, he didn't really answer that. Like he brought up a topic. He brought up something that was very important in a community. Like I don't live in the city. I don't have these experiences. But I'm reading this, and I'm like, he doesn't pretend to know the answer. But I think the theme was we could talk about it.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't keep it inside.
starter.
So like how many conversations do you have with athletes and players that are just about like, hey, let's just talk about something?
So many.
Yeah.
First of all, you're dealing with kids who want to deal with emojis. Like they don't want to talk. They don't want to text.
Yeah.
They don't want to do anything communication wise. I mean, I think there's a shift since when COVID came and these guys are just on their laptops or not talking to people. So now, like you said, you can start an entry with them and say, hey, let's talk about the birds and the bees that leads into your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how that relationship is going. But the biggest thing is conversation starters. About life, and those guys feel comfortable. Like if I'm on the phone with a kid, I'm telling you, I don't want to talk about basketball. Guess what? You're just okay in basketball, and that's okay. But let's talk about things that's going on because it's 24 hours you play. The most you're doing is 2 hours a day of basketball. It's 22 more hours.
Yeah.
So then I need you to know, hey, I'm not all into that. Like most of the time, people don't know I'm not even going to a bunch of basketball games.
Yeah.
I'm going to meeting with you. We're going to IHOP. We're talking on the phone. We're doing text messaging. We're meeting at different locations to talk about life. Because really, what it is your success off the court is going to dictate on the court.
Yeah.
Like I don't people don't understand that, but it's real.
Coach Pat, it's something obviously you're going to have your RJ Davises, and you're going to have your AJ Griffin. You're going to have these guys, boogies that are going to basketball is going to be their who they are in a lot of ways, right? I mean, they have great lives, family lives and stuff, but there's a lot of kids, Pat, I think we've talked about this, maybe not on the show, that you kind of want to push kids to say, use basketball as a way to get to where you want to go. And even if basketball is not the end game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for some, not everyone's going to go play in the G League or play in the NBA and get the lottery pick like some of your guys have, right?
Yeah, I think for PSA, for us, for all these programs, it's embrace that moment and that opportunity. So for like us, could be our last overnight trip for like these 9 seniors, this group, right? This group. Who knows what happens down the line, and hopefully, whatever. I'm not going to get into some of those stuff that hopefully can come out on the back end of the season. But like for some of them, and I told them the other day, I said, guys, that game versus Iona, some of you will never see that crowd again in your basketball career.
Yeah.
Even if you play Division I. I said I watched the MAC game, and nothing against it on a Friday night, but like there was nowhere near that amount of people. Like the fact that some of you are not going to play Division I basketball where you have all these chefs and food and all this stuff, and you're going to stop on a certain budget to go do things on the way, right? And that's okay, right? You're going to figure it out. But, like, enjoy these moments. And that's the same with, like, the platform they've gotten to. And I just think of, like, the Lightning, Wrens, PSA on the Nike side. Like, what Nike has been able to do on the EYBL side to market these kids and provide them on a Thursday to Sunday opportunity 4 or 5 times a year. And then you go to Adidas and Under Armour and now Puma. Like, you need to enjoy these moments because basketball is going to get you into. And I think Munch hits on this all the time. But I said to our guys, like, can you shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye? Yeah. Can you take your hat and beanie off? Well, like, it's cool. I'm like, I get it. Perception is reality, right? Can you not use your locker room talk when there's fans around you, right? Yeah. Can you take a picture with every kid because it's going to go a long way? Can you say thank you? Can you say please? Can you hold the door? Can you be, whatever it is in life, like for myself and the staff, and I know PSA and so many other programs about this, it's life stuff, right? Yeah. It's life. Right? That's what it is. It's teaching you lessons so like we make our guys, just like they do and others, we make them like you got to speak in public. You got to learn how to speak. You got to handle, right, in certain situations. A couple years ago, we brought in the White Plains Police Department. I stepped out of the room, right? How to handle as an African American, how to handle certain situations in today's world that might be different for a white person versus a black person versus light-skinned person, right? All that stuff. Same things that if you read the book and beyond that we're trying to teach. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. So use basketball to get you to these places. I say all the time, everybody jokes about our program, the amount of sponsors and people we have. Go say hello to those people on the baseline.
Yeah.
Those people allow for you. Like we go somewhere, there's supposed to be 4 of you in a room. Yeah. We put 2 in a room because they help get you the extra 4 rooms. You're supposed to eat at McDonald's. We're eating at Ruth Chris, right? You know what I mean? Like it's say thank you to those people. Like Munch said, the business card. The world is networking, right? And if you don't network, you don't say thank you, you don't do this, you know that. Now things have changed. It used to be handwrite, you got to write handwrite notes and stuff. Now it's email, text messages. Make sure you eliminate when you chat GPT, insert here, type line. Yeah. So but I think that's what it comes to, and not to go on a little bit aside here. It's for all these programs. It's how do we get these kids prepared to be successful at the next level and successful, play. But you're right. You got to use basketball, yesterday And we had this social media influencer,
Yes, million followers on YouTube, yeah.
YouTuber,
Colin,
million
yeah.
followers,
Yep.
500,000 on Instagram. I'm like, guys, that doesn't happen. He was just here, and here. He's going to cover the national championship game on Monday night. You have to take advantage of embracing these opportunities. They don't come around.
I
often.
totally agree.
So
I
let
saw
basketball
one.
get you.
Colin's his name?
Yeah.
All hail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball hail. I saw him come in, and I was like, "Who's this dude?" Like walking, he's obviously got aura, man. He's got some serious walking through the gym. But I right away, him and Kevin Clancy from Barstool were there last night.
Yeah.
Two guys that I said, I recognize these guys. But you're right. That the networking side of things and the socializing, it's a huge underrated skill. Even interviewing Josiah last night, I interview him after the game, and he gives short answers, but he answers the question, which is something that most kids don't know how to do. They're nervous, whatever. But you see that he has such poise, and it's impressive, man. It's seeing that. I've always felt like I do not myself, but I do high school media days for Westchester Sports, and it's really it's great because his mom and dad want to see their kid on camera, but it's a little bit of let's teach these kids how to answer a question, how to look someone in the eye and do this stuff because it matters. And I don't really say anything about it. I kind of want the kids to kind of absorb it. So there's another part of this book that there was something that was a line that I read, and I was like, I like this because there are certain things that people think you strive to do, you think about. But there probably they're more of a skill, right? So there's one part of the book where you talk about one of the most underrated skills of the African American boy growing up is the freedom to dream, to have big dreams, right? Yeah. How much do you talk to your players about that? This is a skill. Obviously, dreaming is something that every kid does, right? And some kids have crazy dreams, but the skill of setting a goal, having a dream, and trying to achieve it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to talk to those guys about that from the beginning. If you're recruiting a 9th grade kid and you're sitting with him, you know what he's going to say when you ask him, hey, what's your goals?
Yeah.
I want to be McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand All-American, Nike Hoop Summit, it's this, blah, 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 blah. But now you're talking about a process, right? You're talking about a day-to-day, 7-day-a-week. What are you doing? How are you sleeping? What are you eating? What are you priming your mind to do, right? Are you willing to give away? I think when guys come to us, they see, in a sense in their head, they see the end result, right? Boogie might have looked at Cole, and Cole might have looked at Quade, and Quade might have looked at, this kid, and Ty Jerome, and all these guys see the end of hey, these guys made it to the league. But you got to understand the kid in 9th grade and all of the things that he had to do. I remember having Joe Brown and myself having a conversation with Boogie about how many push-ups he's doing that night when he was in 8th grade. I didn't really know him at that time, right? Yeah. But I think people, when you can dream big, you force them to put themselves in a process-driven situation, right? You can't, hey, I want to be this NBA star, but I'm not doing anything. Yeah. I'm not doing anything towards it. I want to graduate from high school, but I'm not going to class. Yeah. It just doesn't go together. I want to be married, but I'm running the street every day. These things don't just happen. You have to put something down, and then you kind of go at it, right?
So it's not a magic uniform that you guys put on and makes everyone Division I player and sends guys in the NBA.
I mean, they might make them Division I players. We got a good track record of that.
No, everybody, right? I mean,
everybody seems to be in, but it goes back to you can't be a Division I player if you can't qualify, right? People are hey, he's really good at basketball. It's but did he qualify? What's the journey? How's his academics? Did he have to transfer? Back then it was the SAT, right? We don't have that anymore. So, that might be a difference between a kid staying local that has to take regents. So some of these schools, I'm he's not going to pass these 6-7 regents. So he can hang around for a little while, but at the end, he got to leave, right? So having those real dialogues of knowing the kid, right? He's going to keep failing this regents, and you're never going to get him to graduate. So no one's going to win, right? So, that's how myself and Billy Turner's relationship got so much better. We had the kid Jose Perez, and he was with Wings, and it was Billy, at the end, I got to move him after the season to school because he's never going to pass these regions. And Bill was great about it. Listen, let him finish up. March came, we moved him, and then we redshirted him. People don't know, it's he stayed a whole season in sweatsuits. And it was just it doesn't matter how good you're on the court. That's the first question somebody's asking. Yeah. What's his grades looking like? What's his transcript? So I think we're trying to deal with a lot at the same time, but you want guys to think big, because if they think big, you could get them to do more.
Yeah.
Right? Like, dream big, bro. You think you're going to make it? Cool. We're going to get you to eat. You're going to eat this banana. You're going to eat this peanut butter and jelly. You're going to drink some water. You're going to put the phone down. You're going to do some financial literacy classes. We're going to do some meditation on the road instead of just running around playing video games. So we're able to give them so much different things in that, like Pat said, 3-day window on weekends at times, but also during the week, you challenging them. Like, guys got to give you quotes. What's this quote of the day mean, right? Like, I know people don't know all the stuff we're doing behind the scenes of making sure that
this
we
is the most
stay
fascinating
attached.
part to me, because there's a lot of probably copycats out there right now, right? How many people try and
They'll
take
try
that?
it, but then when some things are just not in your DNA.
Yeah.
Like, you as a family, and I tell people all the time, figure out who you are, and then do enough research to pick that program. Like, the kid that comes to us this is no shot, right? The Lightning kid is different than the PSA kid. The Renz kid is different than the PSA kid. Like, if you dig deep enough, you're gonna see, like, he might wear the uniform, but the kid, the family, the people, it's just different. Like, it's the difference between Cornell and Harvard. Yeah. Right? They both big time Ivy League schools, but the kid that goes to Cornell knows I'm a Cornell kid and loves Cornell more than Harvard. And it's the same thing in grassroots, and it's the same thing in high school. So don't try to force it. Just pick the right spot and live with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you changed over? I mean, I feel like when I first saw you, I see you at games and stuff. I would swear you had 2 cell phones each ear, and you were texting at the same time. I don't know how you did it with the, But like, have you changed? Because like I feel like you've become a little bit more like. Have you like laid back, or how have you changed? Have you just matured, gotten older? What is it?
I've gotten tired.
Yeah. Okay.
I've gotten tired. I gotten worried, as they say. I think the biggest thing is being able to surround myself with great people, right? If I just name all the guys with me every day, I consider them brothers. I don't even consider them staff. And I've learned to get out the way of their expertise, right? Like, hey, I got to trust that with a blind eye and go with it, right? There's certain guys where if you ask me what the website look like, I'll tell you I don't know. I know the person that did it, and I know he's going to give everything he has. It's easier when a lot of it is done internal, right? So we do a lot of internal stuff. I think I've done a better job of trying to just be balanced as a human, where this isn't my end all be all as far as grassroots is concerned. I think I've been able to reflect and own up to certain things I did wrong, and then say, all right, I'm not doing that left turn no more. But I've also been able to study my day-to-day life and that environment so I could be ahead. So I'm quicker than people. People say, oh, you're the hardest worker. I don't want to be the hardest worker. I just want to be the smartest guy or the sharpest or the one that's ahead, most efficient, right?
That's I think, Pat, you're at that point. Like, so
yes, he is.
When you first started the program, you got to grind every single day, 12 months, year round. It's a grind, right? I think Pat takes over the basketball program. It was the same deal. It was a grind. And you get very emotional, like you're very caught up and stuff. And I feel like I've seen Pat change, Coach Mass change. Not quite as emotional anymore. A little bit more like, listen, his family, he's got his kids getting a little older. Daughter's playing basketball now. So how much have you felt like you've,
I think I said this on, what are we on, episode 7?
Yeah.
8? What are we, 7? But earlier on, like, I think for me, first it was Swain and I doing everything for the first, X amount of years. And not that, things evolve, right? Life changes. And for me, it was like entrusting Swain with on the skill development side, older mentorship wise. Al coming in, doing that with Swain, scout wise. I've said it. I used to watch, and I still do watch a lot, but like scouts were all mine. Now Alexis has taken that on, and I've entrusted them. The teams entrusted them. Just, I always said when Taylor was born, so 5.5 years ago, that was when Lex came on. I was like, hey, we're going to run this like a college program. And now I've told you it's color-coded and detailed and starters and second page, and I don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah.
And we tag team it. There's certain things that if just, we played Saturday, Sunday, so I had a little more on Holy Cross than Lex might have had because I needed him to worry about that. Handling some of the parents. Swain has done an unbelievable job with that. Al, so the balance of it and the focus has changed and you shift. And, I think even too, like, even me coaching wise, I'm more vocal and hard on my guys. I used to be a nut year 1, 2, and 3 with the refs. They're like, you got to calm down. And I think I've tried to tell Swain and Al and Alexis, like, either they're going to be good, bad, or we don't like them anyway, or really do like them, right? It's not going to matter. It's not going to change. But those guys are going to follow our lead. So if we're going to complain to the refs all game, then our guys are going to complain to the refs. So how about just be tougher? And I even said this in the locker room last night. I said, guys, I was harder tonight, not because of the mistakes, because I want you guys to be prepared and successful. And in the end, we're going to put our arms around you, and I'm going to put your arm around you when it's all said and done. So like I might curse you out or yell at you in front of the camera, but you know I got your back. And that's why I use Coco as the example. You got taken out, you turned it over. To go in, we trusted you to go back in that situation, take that charge. Munch mentioned a minute ago, pull the ball out. Same thing, Darius. I didn't like your body language in the start of the second half. You came out, you got the next 2 shots when you get in. That's just what we're about. Yeah. So, I think, you know, as you go, and Munch mentioned his program for us, for me, it's been entrusted, you know, I used to try to do everything, and I just can't, you know, between my job at work, basketball, life, and beyond. And when you work in a Catholic school, you don't just have one job. So I have one title, but that's not the case, you know.
I would say also the correlation is that back when you guys first started and we first started, you were trying to prove something to people that they didn't know about, right? Yeah. Like there was no data. No, it was just believe me, please, right? Like I got this vision, I got this work.
He was a kid.
We both, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to be everywhere. We're trying to prove ourselves. Like you said, you're trying to shake hands. It's the same thing with the first book, right? Of course, you drop it and you're like, believe me, this is good. Trust me, check it out, right? And then, you know, that book sold more than 10,000 copies, right? Which, if you look on Amazon and the metrics, you're like, oh, wow, this is in the top 3-4 percentile, right? So now it's the same thing with grassroots. So I'm calmer now because I have the data of the work making sense now. So same thing with Pat. You win three championships in a row with all of these kids going to college and the things he's doing. The conversation should be shorter. Right, like, hey, you want to be a star? Here's the things we do. Let's not make it. Let's not overthink it, right? And that's why the second book should be a little bit more fluid than the first. But same thing with PSA. 10 years ago, I'm like, look, man, I got a dream. Believe me, I sound like Dr. King, right? But now it's just like, hey, we did this, this, and this. Yeah, the data's there. Like you said, it's on autopilot. If you don't mess it up, then we can get some stuff done. So yeah, you go and calm down a little bit once you got all the information to sit people down and say, hey, it's right in front of you. Now, we can help you digest it because it might be too much information, right? Because you've accomplished so much. I think now you can kind of like get to like know the type of kid you want, you know the type of family you want, you know what you're looking for, and then you have the info, and then you say, hey, if you can't understand this, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So I think it's a little different.
So your second book comes out. When did this book come out?
That came out in like August.
So here are the answers. This is about navigating success in business of youth basketball, right? Before we get to this, just do one more thing in this book that
he loves this book.
I do. You know why? Again, because it's like a reference guide. If you look at it, there's multiple choice in the end of it. But the part of the book, and I actually thought to myself, I'm like, man, he should have put this at the beginning. The book, entry 80. Can't pick our parents, right? So even Coach Pat Mass deals with parents, right? You deal with parent issues and stuff. And you tell a story about how you were playing at a very young age, about your father, and he was a drunk dad and embarrassed and like yelling on the court and telling you to shoot it. And you're like, and the coach even says to you, who's yelling? Who's yelling your name, right? So it's a great section of the book, and I'm reading it. It says, you know, like at the end you say, you know, what do you do? Like how do you handle this? I don't know how you handle it in the moment. I don't know if anyone knows how to handle this stuff in the moment because you don't know what the reaction is going to be. Whatever. But like, it's one of those things. It's like I read it and thought to myself, like, kids have to just like accept it and adapt to it. And how hard do you have to deal with that? About like talking to your players about, hey, listen, like your parents it's because they love you, right? That's really what it is, right? It's really all it comes down to. They want to see you succeed. They want you to score 30, right? So that part of the book, like I thought to myself, like that could be a whole book in itself from what you've seen, right? Yeah. So
I mean, I got text messages last night. I need you to do a Zoom with me and my young fella. Like, you know what I mean? Just it never stops. But I think once you teach those guys how to be independent, how to live their lives, and how to try to communicate with an adult. Because sometimes it's your dad, your aunt, or your mom. It's just a different adult figure. Yeah. Right? But it's about also setting boundaries, right? As you get older, I think these guys don't need their parents in their heads as much with NIL and being able to go away to school. Like people are like, oh, why this kid want to go all the way to Hawaii? He want to get away from his parent. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, so I think being able to teach them how to have communication, but also be a buffer and also be the one that's not scared to say, hey, Dad, you're out of control. Like, we've had times where we had to tell a parent, you can't come to the game or you got to sit at the top because what you're doing is distracting your son from trying to be the best version of himself. So sometimes you're the director that the parents are like, I don't like you because you're telling me something I don't want to hear.
Hey, God forbid. Yeah,
but I'm trying to tell you, like, you're messing up your relationship with your kid. More important than basketball, you're going to lose your son. right? Like you're in spaces where your son stops communicating, he stops answering you. You know, we take the phone, so then sometimes the kids are like, "Hey, don't let my dad know we got the phone." So you'll find different ways, but you know, like you said, you can't pick your parents, but they also can't stop you from whatever God's destiny for you.
Yeah.
You just got to understand that. Like, I got to keep marching on.
Yeah, no, this is great.
And a lot of time with the parents too, and people won't even believe that 5 to 8 this morning, we played yesterday, like there's a parent complaint via text in my phone. And in the end, when you bring the kid in, they're more embarrassed most of the time.
They're probably apologizing.
Right? And I always say this. We've had a pretty good run. If a kid wants to go play in college, we've had Stepinac has had a run to get that kid to college. Majority of the time, even non-Division I, for almost a full, if not full ride. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, you're on a team. We're trying to win. We're trying to be successful. Nobody's out there. We don't put you on the roster. Just like we're trying to get you to the next level. And these 4 seniors that are unsigned, it's coming for them. Like there's some stuff behind the scenes that's not official yet, that things are working, and we're working nonstop. But like nobody, any program, any coach, any director, right? We want the best for your kid, you know. And you know, it's that's the more frustrating part when you read that. And as things progress, and I think because we're so easily accessible, but when you do loop the kid in, a lot of times it's the parent's emotion, and the kid doesn't even know what's happening. You know?
No,
That's what it is.
It's true. So the next book comes out, and you obviously handed me a copy of it today, and I'm in the world, man. I'm in the AAU world. I have a that's great. Yeah, it's really exciting. 7th grade daughter in her now has played 2 years of AAU, and I'm here to enjoy the experience as a parent, right? Because I want my daughter to love something. I want her to be involved. I don't want listen. I know you take the phones from the kids, right?
Yes, sir.
I want her to be in that type of program, right? I don't want her to be on her phone. I want her to just focus and lock in and also just like enjoy, you know, being at a table, sitting at a table, eating dinner and talking to people, right? How much of this book is things that people maybe don't want to hear? Parents that are in the world or don't know, right?
I just think it's something they all need.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not arrogance. It's more like, if you look at music, when Jay drops the mic and says, "Hey, I left you everything I had. Enjoy the tracks." The answers are in there.
Yeah.
Right? If you listen to the music, the answers are in there. You're not going to physically get to me.
Yeah.
All the time. So I'm trying to give you something to say, "Hey, I learned this on my way. Here's a snippet of my opinion. Maybe it helps you. Maybe it don't. You coming out of middle school, you in middle school. These are things that's coming your way, and you might not know it, right?
Yeah.
And that's everywhere, from a parent to a director to a high school coach. Like, the art of saying thank you, that's a human thing, right? How do you deal with a high school coach if you're a grassroots guy? That's me and Pat are like exhibit A.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So
Yeah.
that's a skill, that's a talent, that's something that needs to be worked on. So it's some stuff you probably don't want to know, but it's also some stuff that if you go blindsided, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes today are super expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Super expensive. And for me, it's just to be able to leave something behind when my time is up, to say, hey, you know, Frank Sinatra, I did it my way, but I also left something behind, and I tried to do it in different, you know, avenues, whether it's a podcast, whether it's interviews, whether it's face-to-face. Like, I'm a personable person, in my opinion. You could come up and have a conversation, but you're not going to always see me. So if you don't want to spend $20 to, like, see the world that you're about to walk, and it's great for college coaches to see what we do on a daily basis. It's great for high school coaches to get the internal, you know, we're talking about how do you feed guys and nutrition. We're talking about, you know, their mental mind makeup. Like, that stuff is all in there. Like, these kids go through a lot, and I think what makes that book unique is it's a lot of the non-basketball. Like, when guys come see kids, they see them on the court, but they have no clue what everything else leading up to that time you go watch them on the court. And parents are like, they got a lot thrown at them, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a parent, handler, it's like, we're dealing with people. It's a people environment, and everyone is unique. So for me, it's like I said, it's not about the book sales. It's not about the finances. It's just me saying, hey, when I leave, I can hold my head up and say, hey, I tried to help, and I walked away, and I'm happy, right? So if you don't want to spend the $20 on Amazon, good luck. That's all I can say.
I mean, I was going to ask you about AAU world. Like, but like, is there too much AAU out there for kids? I mean, is it like when I first started
Too many
doing
teams?
Yeah, too many programs. Too much. Is it diluted?
I think there's a divide. There's like the one side of it where there's like the sponsored AAU and the national side, and then there's all over the country the like pay to play AAU.
Yeah.
And then there's the, you know, pay to play and Well,
we're going to enter a whole world, and your next book's going to be about your next book. I'm telling you, your next book's going to be about. The only crazy writing a book is writing a second book, and then writing a third book. But it's going to be about the outside infiltration of private equity, the money. The private equity is going to take over. They're like more kids play AAU because there's a lot of towns now that don't have a rec program anymore. They used to play rec basketball and play with the towns,
no more CYO.
And now it's like we don't have that. CYO is kind of hurting, and so like the program. So like AAU is you have to do, or like you're not gonna get to play. Like I know kids that play AAU. I'm like I didn't know you play basketball. Like that's pretty good. So that's your next book, I think. What do you see yourself? Do you see yourself still running the program in 5 years, 10 years? What do you see?
No, I see a young fella like Donovan Jones or Joe Brown or whoever wants to step up in that place. Like for me, and the guys that are at my level, Justin and Andre and all of those the older coaches and older guys, we want to be the mind and we want to teach you, and then you be the physicality, right? Like you go see the kids, you learn what this program is about, and then you usher it into the way you want to make it, right? Bring something new to the table, try things, fail. It's okay. We're gonna be fine. The contract is there, right? So like we're just preparing that. Hey, if you guys want to keep this going, then you're gonna have to do it, and you have to add on to it. Right? It can't be like there's a time when we took the cell phones with Chris McCullough and them guys for the entire weekend. Donovan and those guys are like, hey man, it's a new generation. Let's take it for a little while. Let's give it back, but let's have it at the end of the night. So adjustments, pivoting, just adding on to things. This constant growth, and I want the guys who are in the program to feel ownership of it, right? Like, but if it closes tomorrow, I'm okay with that. Like, I feel like we did God's work. I feel like we were blessed, and I also feel like we've done a lot. Like, how many more? It's cool, but how many more McDonald Americans you need? How many more pros? Like, it's not about that, right? It's about how many lives you affect, and now you're able to see these guys doing real stuff in the world. But I want to go. The guys that are playing overseas, I would love to go out there, see them, be on vacation, hanging out with them as adults. Like, I've never been to the green room for the NBA. I probably went to one McDonald American event, maybe one Jordan brand. So you're so busy, you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So you want your family of people that's helping you to enjoy it. But ultimately, 5 years? Nah, not me.
No, I get you. All right, but before we wrap up, I want to know, we've talked to Pat about this on the show, about, you talk about transfers and transfer portal, all this stuff at the high school level. Stepinac doesn't lose guys. They graduate all their guys. They send them off to college. When you look at Stepinac basketball, I know, man, it'll happen, right? I mean, you lose players who go back to their public schools because they just weren't going to see the time, but that's different. Why Stepinac being able to be so successful?
Holistic, right? Like they hold you to be a better person. They're wearing uniforms. They're going to class. They something goes wrong, they're on the phone with Pat. He's there every day, right? Swain is there. All these guys, the adults are there. They're consistent. They you know who they are, right? They're not. They have a way of going about things that equal success. Like I judge schools and AAU programs on not 1 through 3, 4. Like Pat didn't have to do magic to make sure Josiah Jervis and the Ratliffs are going to college. But the dude that's number 7, 8, 9 is where you get to see where the work came in, right? Like I've worked with this man to say, hey, Sam Gibbs, we're gonna work together and we're gonna get this done. Right? Like it's not you like AAU programs aren't elite when you're just like, hey, I sent 4 guys, but there's 6 other dudes just standing there, right? Like, if you're somebody and you want to say, hey, I want to give myself the best chance to go to college, forget NIL, right? Forget Division 1. Then I'm going to that place because I know this man is going to work until it's done. And if that means April, May, June, when the season is over, there's not a lot of people in the world that's doing that work. And he knows, like, hey, Pat, look, I sent 15 to these schools, these text messages. You got the other 10. Like, there's no ego. There's no drama. And like I said, I want people to judge us on, the guy that's 7, 8, 9. And if he's going to school, where's he going? Oh, that kid went to Cornell, or he went to Bucknell. He went to...
Who's your Wesleyan? Who's your Wesleyan player?
Ben Little.
Yeah, Ben Little.
Yeah, I love Ben. Like, I remember having a conversation with Ben and saying, hey,
perfect example.
This is great for you for life, right? Like, I remember giving him some sneakers, and that was one of my guys. Like, I used to love him. He didn't play with us, but I was like, he helps you win, right? So I think you can't compete with that, right? Like, when he starts to talk about, hey, the seniors that's 5, 6, 7, and I know schools that I looked at a picture and was like, oh yeah, but where's all these kids going? You was at the semifinals, and none of them got a school. That's a failure to me.
Yeah.
Because parents pay a lot of money, a lot of time from second grade, like what you said with your daughter.
Yeah.
If at the end of the road you pick the school and your daughter didn't have nowhere to go at the end, I don't care who won the championship.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like, he's winning the championship and his kids are going to school. It's common sense.
Yeah.
It's just common sense at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, Mass, anything to wrap up?
Yeah, nah, it's it's, on that point, it's something we take pride in, and it matters. And there's some stuff, like I said, that's behind the scenes right now. Some guys, and everything works different ways, right? Life works different ways, but some of these guys in that 6 to 9 role that have some opportunities coming their way, and their peers have been hurt. The opportunity came about, and everything we've been saying to these college coaches now got to see, for real on that side. But no, this has been a great episode.
I want to add one thing.
Yeah,
too.
what do you got?
Yeah.
The last piece to me is don't do the I kept the kid 4 years and then he post-graded at a prep school.
Yeah.
And then he went to school X and then you want credit. You have 4 years, you utilize the kid for basketball, get it done in the 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not falling for that. Like,
Yeah.
I keep track of every school and where all these kids went.
Okay.
So that play, that's not a good play. I'm 4 years of eligibility. He played all the way through, and then he went to New Hampton, and then from New Hampton he went to St. Joe's, and now it's like, oh yeah, you didn't do that. You had 4 years to get it right, and you didn't. So
Very
all
fair.
these little plays, no.
That's
Also,
very
you got to be an alum. You have to graduate from that school. Like, we got a lot of people promoting that they're alums, but they don't graduate from that place.
Don't get Pat going.
No, I know.
Last thing.
Yeah, right.
And people are going to hate on this. People are going to like this. This is my pet peeve right now. Pet peeve. It's been the last couple years. And 2 people that are very close to me don't like me talk about this. I post a lot about it. If you post a game day graphic that you have a game that day, okay, social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you post it. Win or lose, post the end results. We're living in, it is driving me insane, Kev. Not just, everybody thinks it's the opponents we play.
Yeah.
I'm talking in general.
Yeah.
Social media is to inform and to benefit your kids. You have to just post what happens. It drives me insane.
I knew he was gonna say
post
this.
win or
Why'd you
lose
bring this up?
every level.
Listen.
Every level.
I'm gonna get him on his
Every
soapbox.
level. Post if you win or lose.
Yeah.
Why only post when you win? That's a bad message to your kids.
That's what it is.
And program.
It's not
Post.
it's not as much ego. It's the message it sends to the kids. That's
post.
That's wrong.
You know
Post.
what people would say with Pat is like, you only post that 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Loss.
Only lose 3 times.
You
That's
want
a
them
good
to
point.
post 15 times.
You're lose
Where you
nationally
make a
ranked teams.
beautiful graphic and then you don't tell anybody the end result.
Yeah, no,
You know what
you're
I mean?
right.
So,
Coach,
but dope episode. One thing we always end with, highlighting the college guy. Just want to hit on my guy, Declan McIntyre. Yeah. He transferred from Holy Cross to NYU, coming off the bench for them. He's had some good games. Again, finding the right fit. Declan, didn't get a lot of minutes for us when he was at Stepinac, and his path has, gone different ways because of basketball. Now he's thriving academically. Great kid. So, we always try to end with, we talked Justin Reddy the other day and different guys, and Declan's doing his thing down at NYU, first year transfer out of Holy Cross, White Plains kid, and just giving him a little spotlight as we always end the show here. And I just want to keep saying, now that we've upgraded here and we've added the guest element to it and the digital side, the amount of people that are listening and the emails and DMs and messages is pretty dope. It means that it's just not 3 people, me, you, and my wife listening on our rides too. So 4, right? There's a lot of people listening. There's a lot of people that send in text messages and messages. So as you evolve and whatnot. So just thank you to those who are listening. Thank you to our sponsors.
All Pro Cleaning Restoration, White Plains Hospital. 2 things before you finish up. Go buy the books. Go on Amazon. Even if you don't read them, just buy them. Support our friend Munch. It means a lot.
Somebody.
It means a lot. Give them to somebody. The PSA book, our PSA book, as I said, not a basketball book. Be warned. Be ready. It's a deep life book, and it will impact you. One of those entries is going to impact you, if not multiple, which they all have. And you can go through, and it is literally like, I dealt with this today. There's an entry on it. Read it, and whether it has the answer or not, like we talked about, it matters. The other thing I'm going to say to you is, don't do what I did and wait years and go and introduce yourself to Munch. Go up in the game and talk to him. He's going to tell you stuff. He's going to talk. He's going to tell you the truth, and if you're just an aspiring AAU basketball player, maybe you're never going to play for the PSA Cardinals. You're going to learn something. It's probably the most valuable lesson you can. Meet as many people, talk to people. You're teaching your players that every day. So thank you so much for coming on. You enjoy yourself?
I love you.
This is great. This has really been a fun episode.
It's good.
And when Pat said you were coming on, I was very excited. So we're very honored to have you. I want to thank Hector. I want to thank Estrid here from LMC Media Studios. And I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on the Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast. The Inside Stepinac Basketball Podcast is back. And once again, it is brought to you by All Pro Cleaning and Restoration, a Balfour company, commercial, residential property restoration and construction company. Services include fire and water damage restoration, mold remediation, HVAC, duct cleaning, and complete construction services. Been a valued service provider for Westchester County and the Tri-State area for over 35 years and a proud supporter of Stepinac basketball, as is White Plains Hospital, a sponsor of GameDay One, and has been so good to high school athletics, Stepinac basketball, and GameDay One since we started.